but this is still Russia. All right, we're on the brink of World War III with Russia, and like I've been saying, if Trump wins, our economy is gonna collapse in World War III. That's what's gonna happen. If Hillary wins, we're gonna go to World War III. Then the economy is gonna collapse. All right, no matter what, both is gonna happen. Both of those people are controlled by the Illuminati. Not the Illuminati, the New World Order and Illuminati. Because it's deeper than that. We're gonna do the truth. Starting, I'm gonna do a little introduction today, but later on, like Sunday and next, we'll give you guys the truth. All right, and I'm gonna be the only YouTube going on. What controls the world? How is this world run? All that. So Russia warns you, the U.S. Army would lead a war. Air defense are activated. Okay, we know that. Also, I forgot the third scenario is if we just went for the president election, Obama still be a president. They suspend the election, all laws. This is a new world order. So let's get into it. Russia's defense minister has warned the U.S.-led coalition against carrying out airstrikes on Syrian army position. The Russian defense minister stated that any missile or airstrikes on the territory controlled by the Syrian government will create a clear threat to Russian servicemen during a press conference on Thursday. The defense minister spokesperson General Igor, I can't pronounce his last name, said that many members of the Russian Reconnaissance Center in Syria are working on the ground to deliver aid and communicating with large number of communities in Syria in his statement. The statement was also confirmation that Russia has S-400s and S-300 air defense systems deployed to protect its troops and assets stationed at the Tartus Naval Base and their Chemnon Air Base. General K, I'm going to call him, said that the radius of the weapons may be a surprise unidentified flying objects, UFOs. General said that the radius of weapons may be a surprise to UFOs. He also noted that the Syrian military has S-200 BUK missile systems, which have been upgraded over the past year. Okay, folks. So what I believe is going to happen, all right, France said if they see Russia and any kind of threat, they're going to, if we see any kind of, we're going to fire it. Who knows what's going to happen? But we're going to fire upon someone because we're on the brink of World War III. And that's what this new world order wants, is a World War III. A new government that could indict, they want to get rid of all the superpowers, but it'd be still countries, but it'd be 10 to 14 instead of having a whole bunch of countries around the world. It's going to be regions, new countries that will never unite as a real, true, one-order government. All right, folks, because if they really create a one-order government, one nation, the whole world, then people will unite and find out about them. They'll always keep us divided. That's the end plan there. All right, so let's move on. In this article by the New York Post, Putin is calling all the members of Russia that's abroad to come back to the motherland. It's going to be at the bottom. So Putin could be ready for war, calling Russians back to the motherland. Russian President Vladimir Putin could be prepping for a global war in the wake of deteriorating relationship with the U.S. and other Western countries, according to an incident new report. Putin sent out an order to top Russian officials, politicians, and their children across the world demanding they return to the motherland. The order comes amid rising tension with the U.S. over Syria and Putin's last-minute cancellation of a planned trip to Paris to meet with French President François Hollande. This is all part of the package of measures to prepare elite to some big war. Russian politics analyst told the Daily Star. You can read the rest at the bottom. So Putin canceled his mission to France, to Europe. Is calling all the official members that's part of the Russian government, their children, and all abroad people, all right, back to Russia through their news organization. All right. Also, Russia is opening up old army bases in Cuba and Vietnam. Russia also, people don't realize this, supplied North Korea. North Korea got their army, uniforms, all that. And North Korea started because of Russia. All right, Russia gave them the power to become North Korea. All right, so we're on the brinks of World War III, people. I want people out there to wake up. Now, this is some crazy news. We're about to get into it. Russians talking about nuclear war. Next article. Links are going to be at the bottom, folks. Russia television warned of nuclear war amid U.S. tensions. All right, so Russia is asking their people about nuclear war and if they're for or against it. With diplomatic relation between Moscow and Washington at their lower point since the Cold War, one could be forgiven for being alarmed by recent Russian news broadcasts for the past month. Russian media outlets have been punctuated with reports asking people whether they are ready for nuclear war. If it should one day happen, every one of you should know where the nearest bomb shelters is. It's best to find out now, according to one particular fever reporter on the Russian state-owned TV channel NTV. Russia's main current affairs show, hosted by presidents known by critics as the country's propagandist-in-chief, recently spent 2 hours warning that Russia would defend itself with nuclear arms. We've had it with Americans scolding over Syria, the show's host. Alright. So they're telling, the rest of the article is going to be at the bottom. We got to move on to the next article. I got a lot of videos to do. But Russia, not just this TV channel, but all of it is asking people, are they prepared for war? They're telling where the nearest nuclear and bomb shelter is, because we're gearing up for war, folks. This is ABC News. They're telling people, get prepared for war. Get prepared for war. All right? They're brainwashing everyone in the world. Doesn't matter if you're in Russia or America, be prepared for war, because that's what we're leading up to, is World War III. Syria is still in power. Syria is still in power, folks. So, it's a lot of crazy stuff. Also, a Russian submarine shot off ballistic missiles that has the capability of having nuclear weapons. The article is going to be at the bottom. Russian submarine strategic missile troops test fired 3 long-range ballistic rockets. Russia has successfully conducted 3 separate ballistic rocket launches. 2 tests were carried out by Russian submarines from the Northern Pacific fleets, while another intercontinental ballistic missile was launched from Pulisic Space Center. Alright, so they launched 2 missiles from submarines. They tested 2 times Russian submarines from the Northern Pacific fleets with intercontinental ballistic missiles. And they also launched a missile from the Space Center. This is just crazy, folks. It's going to be at the bottom. So, just preparing, it's arms, submarines, Space Center, space on land, firing missiles, okay, folks, to test it out. All right, so they're prepping up for war. All right, and they're not the only ones prepping up for war. America's prepping up for war too. This article is going to relate to it. So, Defense One, the U.S. Air Force just dropped 2 fake nukes. Okay, now Russia's testing their missiles. United States is testing their missiles. Russia's opening up bases in Cuba and Vietnam, reopening them. Russian television warning about nuclear war. Where's the nearest bomb shelter? Russia went to war with Crimea, took that. Russia's going through the Mediterranean all the way to Spain and back, testing the Nato, testing America. All right, and now this problem, we're accusing Russia of hacking. All right, the political hack. Remember that. Russia. The world is trying to put war crimes on Russia and Syria for Alpo. Alright. And America is dropping fake nukes in the desert in Nevada. The link's going to be at the bottom. A pair of U.S. Air Force B-2 bombers dropped 2 700-pound Fox nuclear bombs in the middle of the Nevada desert within the past few days. Now the Pentagon wants to tell you about it. Conducted earlier this month, according to an October 6th press release. The test involved two dummy variants of B-61, a nuclear bomb that has been in U.S. arsenals since the 1960s. One was an earth-penetrating, made to strike underground targets. The other, a tactical version of the B-61, neither carried an actual warhead. The primary object of flight testing is to obtain reliable accuracy and performance data under Operation Responsive conditions, said the statement from the National Nuclear Security Administration, the Energy Department arm that oversees such tests. Such testing is part of the qualification process of current alteration life extension program for weapon system. But why now? Perhaps it has to do with the tension with Russia, which are higher than they have been in decades and which have sparked fears of new nuclear arms race. Earlier this week, the Russian government announced it would conduct a massive drill to prepare its citizens for nuclear war. So Russia, America, is preparing for nuclear war, folks. Alright, I'm going to have these other links, too, because this is just as important, because we are on the brinks. Major UK-led NATO exercise begins in Scotland. One of NATO's biggest, this is the biggest military exercise that NATO has ever done. The link's going to be at the bottom, but one of NATO's biggest military exercises is underway with large parts of training taking place in Scotland. Joint Warriors is held twice a year in April and October, involves thousands of personalities and dozens of ships and aircraft. For the first time, the UK-led exercise features training using seagoing and aerial drones. So now they're using drones called Unmanned Warriors. These training involves the Western Isles, military sites and ranges in Benbecul, Stonaway on Lewis, and also El Precos and Kyle Lakshus on Scotland's mainland. West coast are being used for the Royal Navy's Unmanned Warrior. Alright, Joint Warrior, meanwhile, involves about 5,700 military personnel from armed forces from countries including Norway, Sweden, Germany, and the USA. 31 warships and submarines as well, almost 70 aircraft, many of them being flown out of RAF Losemouth and Moray and Prescott and Ayrshire are being used in the training of Scottish coast. Joint Warrior runs until October 20th. So it's still going on right now as we speak, folks. This is crazy. Alright. So Russia's preparing for war, we know. We know America's preparing for war. And we now know NATO is preparing for war. One of the first unmanned warrior with drones and air drones. They're just getting all this military in place for World War III. Russia reopens Cuba. Russia reopens Vietnam. Russia got control of North Korea, China, and Russia. We're going to get into another by itself, South Korea too, is for us. But they're on the edge of Japan Sea as we speak right now. And China and Russia is in an exercise right now. So the war game, the moves on the chessboards are being in place right now. The locations, where the armies are, and the whole world knows about it. So let's move on. Now this is breaking news, and all these articles should be just stories by themselves, but I ain't got enough time to make all these videos by itself. So war games, Russia and China join forces against global U.S. missile shield. Can you believe this? Russia and China are conducting exercises against the global U.S. missile shield. Let's read this article. Russia has joined China in trying to block the U.S. from upgrading its missile defense network in Europe and Asia, Bloomberg reported Wednesday. While Moscow has protest plans for the extension NATO operating system for years, its message to Washington was particularly forceful this week as relations between the two nations have reached an all-time low over disputes in Syria. At a security conference in China, Russian General Viktor Panzer warned that the U.S. was trying to establish a global military dominance by expanding its missile system. Russian military experts believe that the U.S. hopes to gain the capability to strike any region of the world, including Russia and China, with nuclear-tipped missiles with impunity, he says, former in Beijing. China's Major General Ka Yan blast plans by Washington and Seoul to deploy a high-tech missile defense system known as the Terminal High Air Defense THAAD in nearby South Korea, like I said. Installing the system may trigger an international arms race that could even expand to outer space as Russia and China consider a tactical response to U.S. military aspiration in September. Russian and Chinese navies conduct joint exercise in the disputed South China Sea, and Putin announced last year that Russia plans on developing a counter system capable of piercing NATO's missile shield. Alright. As the U.S. expands NATO military infrastructure, Russia and China have become increasingly agitated in May. The U.S. established ballistic missile defense Aegis ashore sites in Romania and Poland, joining mobile threat ballisto sites in Germany, the Netherlands, Spain, France, and Italy that same month. Russia and China conducted joint anti-missile exercise and have already planned a second drill in 2017. The U.S. and NATO allies are currently developing additional seaborne ballistic missiles capabilities. The U.S. Europe and Asia are missile threat from such as Iran and North Korea. Russia and China reject this explanation, believe they're being held hostage by U.S. foreign policy. Both countries also criticize the U.S. for withdrawing from the 1972 Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty, which barred the U.S. or Russia from building or testing missiles. The news comes as Russia makes steps to expand its own military presence worldwide by establishing a permanent air base in Syria and considering opening more foreign bases in countries such as Cuba, Vietnam, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Are you serious, folks? Did you just hear that? Alright, did you just hear that? Alright, so Russia is saying that we're not with the treaty. Right? So we're not with the treaty. Russia ain't with the treaty. China ain't with the treaty. And when we say it's for Iran and North Korea, all right, North Korea, Russia and China control. That's their crazy country out there. We started it with Iran. That's the truth. Syria, they control Syria, and they're building air bases. But once you want to build permanent army bases in Cuba, that's near America's shores, and Vietnam, all right, in Nicaragua, in South America, and Venezuela, in South America. This is crazy, folks. I want people out there, to be mad, man. Come on. They're putting pieces in places. And we're putting pieces in places. And what's crazy about this is that we're all in the one world government. This is what they want. They want wars between the superpowers. All right? No matter what I just read to you, we're getting prepared for World War III, all right? You got Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, Syria, Vietnam, Cuba, Pakistan, all right? They're moving all their pawns in places now, all right? We're moving all our pawns and pieces in places too with NATO, all right? We're on the brinks of World War III, all right? No matter who's elected president or not even election, Obama could still be, if a war broke out or economy collapsed, they'd suspend the election too, but it doesn't matter. Trump, Hillary, they're both puppets of the New World Order. Same with Obama. And if you vote for Trump, you're going to get the economy collapse first in World War III. Alright, if Trump's become president, I forgot, our votes don't count. If Hillary wins, you're going to have World War III, then the economy collapse. Alright, folks, I just want everyone out there, be prepared. We got more videos coming. Got a lot of videos coming. This is the No Face Moon. Please like, subscribe, and the movement. This is the movement. Until next time, facing off.